The way I found out about your music was through your album that you did with Ram Dass, which is just mind-blowing. Uh, can you tell us a bit about your experience interviewing him and putting that album together?
Yeah. Ram Dass was a teacher for me from afar, like many of us. I read Be Here Now and listened to his talks, and he was a really inspirational figure and someone who has this wonderful combination of humor and intellectual and psychedelic, but not really religious. He had this great pedigree that was perfect for me and a
Yeah.
lot of people. And he's funny, like he's endearing, and he's a great speaker. So I had the idea of working with him, and when it finally came to happen, it was in 2018 in the summer. I went over there and had this amazing experience getting to meet him and be with him for a week to record. And I didn't know how that would pan out. I didn't know, with his stroke that he had had many years before and his aphasia, he had difficulty speaking. So
Yes.
it was a big unknown. It could have been like, he's having a bad week. He can't really talk. And I was like, that's okay. I think we just need to, at a minimum, look each other in the eye and just kind of be like, this is happening. Thank you. Maybe I'll have to use old material of yours. There's plenty of it. But I wanted to try to give him the opportunity to speak, and he could choose, in a sense, what does he want to speak to now? Well, it turned out that it was a really, really good week. And he spoke so beautifully to some really salient issues that are happening in modernity. And he, in a lot of ways, because of his aphasia, he had to be very precise about his words. And he might speak, is it 1 minute, basically, when it all came truncated down. And it's like the perfect poetry with a little humor, great opener, closing, all this little poetry in there, little micro teachings. And because the music allowed me to take out his pauses in normal life, now I could just pull them together, and in the rhythm of the music, your brain doesn't hear any of that.
Mm.
And actually, like the technology, in a sense, of this song, he came alive. It was like he's completely, it's like, holy cow, he is fully online, not just fully
Mm.
online, but 50 years of wisdom and strength and beauty. And I was just floored by what came out of that, and how actually, like, it's one thing to interview him, but to take it and
Yeah.
put it in songs. He became the fullness of Ram Dass in that moment, and unbeknownst to us, those were his last recorded teachings, as far as I know, and that became such an even more powerful thing to comprehend, and it feels very alive to this day, the whole process.
What was it like sitting with him?
He gave the fullness of his attention to me, or whoever was there, and that was a real gift. And it really showed me how we can do that with each other, like full loving awareness, just full love to the person you're with. You don't have to know them. There's no baggage. It's just this present moment, and that was beautiful, beautiful. I mean, certainly I was starstruck. But after that, you just realize, oh, we're just two souls, like, crossing paths, and that's enough. And we do a little dance. We don't know what the dance fully is, but you trust in that process. So it allowed me to give in to a larger process that I'm not fully in control of, and allowed me to flow kind of with the river that we're all in. But it was some time. I went back a few times after that, and I'll cherish that forever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's an amazing gift to be able to do that. I was honored.
A well-known Kabbalistic rabbi I spoke with on the podcast talks about being in the divine presence of, there was one of the holiest rebbes who passed away a few years ago. And then there was obviously Krishna Das talks about when he was with Maharaji. Did you feel that when you were with Ram Dass, you were in that presence of someone almost like, I don't like using the word guru, but of that ilk?
Yes and no. I did notice that, a lot of people project onto him a lot of things.
Yeah.
And what I saw, and just from my experience, was a man who had done a lot of work on himself and become really, really open and loving, but a man.
Mm,
And that to me was more than enough.
mm,
And in a lot of ways, it was better because it showed me, like, oh, I could do this. Any of us could do this. We just need to dedicate ourselves to loving
yeah.
and to falling down and then keep loving. So he was very human to me. But if anything, I was just honoring like all of his giving and his service and his wisdom over the years. So there's an appreciation for that. And pretty much everybody who is one of the firsthand circle of people who met Maharaji from that group,
Yeah.
there's a special little group there that I
Yes, I
like
know the group.
to
Yes.
talk to any of them. Like, tell me
Yeah.
some more stories, you know?